Welcome to U.S. Homeless Stories.
U.S. Homeless Stories takes you to California, the wealthiest state in the United States, and the epicenter of the nation's homelessness crisis. More than 180,000 people are experiencing homelessness here, nearly 1/3 of the total homeless population nationwide. Thousands live unsheltered, sleeping on sidewalks, in tents, vehicles, riverbeds, and beneath freeways, fully exposed to the public eye. For many, homelessness in California is closely tied to substance use. Addiction does not begin on the street for everyone, but life on the street often deepens it. Without stable housing, access to treatment becomes inconsistent, relapse becomes common, and survival takes priority over recovery. Drug use becomes both an escape and a trap. This reality unfolds alongside extraordinary wealth. Tech campuses, luxury apartments, and high-end retail exist just blocks from encampments where people struggle with illness, dependency, and exhaustion. Rising rents and limited housing have turned personal crises into permanent displacement. Subscribe to U.S. Homeless Stories to keep these stories visible. Stories too many have learned to look past. 1. The statewide landscape of homelessness in California. Shatter the illusion of California's golden dream. Right beneath its shining surface lurks a brutal crisis, with 187,000 people locked in the daily hell of homelessness as of 2024. Condemned to raw existence on concrete sidewalks, dodging rain-soaked nights and scavenging for scraps in alleyways where vulnerability turns every stranger into a potential threat. In San Diego County, over 10,000 endure this exposed ordeal, bundling in tattered blankets under overpasses or curling up in doorways, their bodies battered by endless exposure, minds frayed by the ceaseless hum of traffic and the gnawing void of disconnection from the world rushing by. Fresno's expanses mirror this torment for more than 3,500, where street life means constant battles against hunger's grip, the sting of cold winds, and the heavy silence that falls when hope dims in the face of indifference. Now, here's the jolt that defies belief. While U.S. homelessness ballooned by 18% in 2024, California flipped the script with a stunning 9% slash in unsheltered cases by 2025, dropping from 93,000 to roughly 84,000, the most dramatic plunge in nearly 20 years, via CalYCH revelations, sparking intrigue about whether this breakthrough pierces the core of suffering or barely scratches the surface of a festering wound. In Orange County, aiding about 7,000 yearly, the shift teases relief, but the unyielding truth endures. Lives stripped bare on public pavements, forging fragile alliances in transient clusters, and summoning inner fortitude to face mornings laced with uncertainty. As U.S. Homeless Stories unmasks this raw panorama, brace for truths that expose the razor-thin edge between security and the abyss hiding in everyday shadows. Transitioning from this vast canvas, we turn to the dire living conditions that strip away essentials, pushing human limits to the brink. Have you ever questioned the hidden strains on existence in locales like Sacramento, impacting over 9,000 souls? From my perspective, these exposures underscore that even modest advances can reclaim pieces of worth for the marginalized. It's a stirring call to anchor our bonds in authentic concern for fellow beings. Two, living conditions falling short of basic needs. Beneath the surface of California's bustling cities and quiet suburbs, the living conditions for those without homes expose profound shortages that strip away the essentials of human dignity, leaving individuals to grapple with a void where basic comforts should be: clean water scarce, sanitation a distant luxury, and secure shelter an unattainable dream that deepens the ache of daily existence. In Oakland's dim alleys, where roughly 6,000 navigate makeshift lives amid urban sprawl, the absence of reliable hygiene facilities turns simple routines into exhausting ordeals, fostering a quiet despair as bodies and spirits wear down without respite. Similarly, Riverside County's parks, supporting around 3,000, will become reluctant havens where nutritious meals are rare, amplifying the gnawing hunger and fatigue that accompany every waking moment. A hardship that echoes the unspoken pain of having nowhere to turn for even the most fundamental relief. These deficiencies manifest in cramped, exposed setups like tents or vehicles, where privacy evaporates and safety feels fleeting. As seen in San Bernardino County, with over 4,000 enduring such realities. Places where the lack of proper protection against the elements leaves people vulnerable to relentless discomfort, their sorrows compounded by the isolation of unaddressed needs. This raw truth highlights the human toll. The persistent weariness from unmet necessities, the subtle grief of dreams deferred, and the resilience summoned just to carry on amid circumstances that no soul deserves. As U.S. Homeless Stories brings these hidden struggles into focus, it stirs a gentle call to our shared conscience, reminding us that acknowledging these gaps is the first step in weaving a more compassionate society. How might bridging these shortages in your local area, like in Monterey with its 2,000 affected, restore a sense of wholeness to those overlooked? It's a soft reflection that life's fragile turns, a sudden loss or unforeseen strain, could draw any of us into these shadows, prompting us to embrace mutual care with open hearts. If these glimpses into human endurance resonate with you, a like would help illuminate more paths. And subscribing to U.S. Homeless Stories connects you to ongoing tales that foster understanding. Continue exploring to embrace the fuller essence of these lived experiences. Three, the cycle between streets, emergency aid, and recurrence. In the shadowed underbelly of California's support systems, a harrowing cycle tied to drug addiction grips many in homelessness, where substance use escalates into overdoses, rushes to emergency rooms for life-saving interventions, only to spiral back into continued dependency without the sustained help needed to break free. In Kern County's strained clinics, where about 2,800 individuals cycle through aid yearly. This loop often starts with street-level access to potent drugs like fentanyl, leading to sudden collapses and frantic calls for Narcan revivals, but followed by brief hospital stays that discharge people back to the same environments fueling their habits. The statistics hit hard. Among California's homeless population, opioid overdose risk stands at 1.8% annually, 6 times higher than for low-income housed individuals, per a 2024 study from American Addiction Centers, updated in 2025, highlighting a vicious recurrence that sees 37% reporting regular illicit drug use in recent months. According to UCSF's 2025 Benioff Initiative data, trapping them in repeated crises that erode physical and emotional reserves. This relentless pattern burdens both lives and resources, as seen in Solano County with its 1,500 affected, where drug-related emergencies contribute to over 270,000 statewide interactions yearly, per Cal ICH's 2025 figures, and a scale that overwhelms systems and leaves gaps in long-term recovery support. In Napa County, aiding around 800, the lack of accessible treatment programs perpetuates the suffering. The profound fatigue from withdrawal battles, the deep isolation amid cravings that pull one back, the quiet anguish of knowing each high risks another brush with the edge. These human stories reveal the toll of unmet needs, where addiction's grip amplifies the hardships of street life, underscoring the urgent call for integrated paths to healing that address both housing and recovery. As U.S. Homeless Stories illuminates these entangled challenges, it awakens a subtle sense of our interconnected fates, reminding us that bolstering recovery networks is a way to honor the shared humanity in us all. How might expanding treatment access in communities like Placer County, home to about 1,200 residents, offer renewed paths forward? It's a thoughtful reflection that personal setbacks, a moment of struggle or unexpected turn, could lead any of us into similar depths, inspiring us to cultivate supportive environments with care. If these insights into enduring struggles move you, a like would help share this vital perspective. And subscribing to U.S. Homeless Stories connects you to more narratives that bridge understanding. Keep watching to immerse in the authentic layers of these experiences. Four, widespread shortage of affordable housing resources. Across California's diverse landscapes, from the coastal stretches of Santa Barbara County, where over 2,000 residents face monthly rents averaging $2,500, well beyond the reach of many earning modest wages, to the inland communities of Tulare County, supporting around 1,800 in similar predicaments. The widespread shortage of affordable housing acts as an unrelenting barrier that leaves countless individuals without a secure place to rest. This gap isn't merely a statistic, it's the harsh force that displaces hundreds each year, turning stable lives upside down as people find themselves on the streets, grappling with the constant unease of not knowing where they'll sleep next. The exhaustion sets in deeply, the endless worry about basic shelter, the drain of navigating a system that offers little relief, the quiet ache of losing that fundamental sense of security that a home provides. Statewide, the deficit looms large, with California short by more than 2.5 million affordable housing units as of 2025, according to the California Housing Partnership's latest assessments. A shortfall so immense, it rivals the population of entire major cities and overwhelms low-income families who often spend over half their earnings on rent. In Humboldt County, home to about 1,600 affected by this crunch, the reality hits hard. For every 100 extremely low-income renters, only 24 units are available. Per HUD's 2024 to 2025 data, pushing more into precarious situations where temporary fixes like cars or tents become the norm. This scarcity fuels a cycle of hardship, where the lack of options amplifies daily struggles, the fatigue from cold nights, the isolation without a private space, the persistent strain of survival without roots. Even with recent efforts, the numbers remain staggering, as preliminary 2025 reports from Governor Newsom's office indicate that while unsheltered homelessness dipped 9%, the underlying housing void still leaves over 116,000 without stable options, a figure that underscores how deeply embedded this issue is in the state's fabric. As U.S. Homeless Stories sheds light on these realities, it gently prompts a shared sense of humanity, but reminding us that supporting equitable access to housing benefits everyone in the long run. What simple changes in local policies could ease this burden in neighborhoods like yours? And it's worth noting that life's unexpected turns, a sudden expense or job shift, can make such vulnerabilities feel all too close for any of us, encouraging a compassionate outlook. If these insights stir something within you, consider giving this video a like to help spread the word, and subscribe to U.S. Homeless Stories to join in discovering more about the everyday challenges shaping our society. Keep watching to deepen your connection with these unfolding truths. Have you ever considered how expanding affordable options in areas like Shasta County, with roughly 1,400 residents touched by this, might foster stronger communities? From my perspective, grappling with these shortages teaches us that empathy in action can turn systemic gaps into opportunities for collective healing. It's about nurturing stability as a common ground. 5. Root causes at the statewide level. Deep within California's economic framework, root causes like elevated taxes, widespread addiction challenges, and soaring costs of living converge to undermine stability for many residents, creating pressures that quietly erode the foundations of daily life in regions such as Imperial County, where around 700 individuals contend with these overlapping burdens. High taxes, including California's top marginal income tax rate of 13.3% as of 2025 per the Tax Foundation, compound financial strains by reducing take-home pay for working families, leaving them with less to cover essentials and heightening vulnerability in an already demanding environment. This fiscal weight feels relentless, the squeeze on budgets that turns every expense into a calculation, the ongoing stress of balancing obligations without margin for error, the subtle erosion of hope as resources dwindle. Compounding this are addiction issues, where over 60% of those experiencing homelessness report periods of heavy substance use. According to the 2023 UCSF Benioff Homelessness and Housing Initiative study, updated with 2025 data, a prevalence that often intensifies amid instability, trapping individuals in cycles of dependency that demand more than willpower to overcome. In Nevada County, supporting about 600 in these circumstances, and the toll manifests as persistent fatigue from managing cravings without adequate support. The isolation that deepens with each setback, the quiet despair of seeking recovery in a system stretched thin. Meanwhile, the overall high cost of living, 50% above the national average per 2026 Economic Policy Institute figures, amplifies these hardships, with everyday necessities like utilities and groceries devouring incomes that haven't kept pace, pushing hundreds into precarious positions annually. These intertwined elements reveal a broader societal challenge, where economic policies and unmet needs intersect to affect lives profoundly, urging a collective reflection on how we can foster more supportive structures. How might enhancing access to recovery programs in areas like Siskiyou County, with 500 affected, alleviate some of these pressures? It's a subtle reminder that unforeseen events, a financial dip or health struggle, can bring such realities closer to home for anyone, inspiring us to extend understanding and aid. As U.S. Homeless Stories explores these depths, it connects us to the shared human experience, encouraging empathy in our responses. If these revelations evoke a sense of connection, a like would mean the world. And subscribing to U.S. Homeless Stories lets you journey further into these meaningful explorations. Stay engaged to embrace the fuller narrative of resilience across the nation. Have you ever reflected on how addressing tax burdens in communities like Yolo County, home to over 800, could support broader stability? Six, the frontline role of nonprofit organizations. On the front lines in the rolling hills of San Luis Obispo County, where about 1,900 individuals seek refuge amid limited options, nonprofit organizations emerge as beacons of immediate support, quietly weaving a safety net through meals, counseling, and emergency shelters that government programs alone can't fully provide. Groups like Housing California step into the fray, distributing essentials to those who've fallen through cracks. Their volunteers often the first friendly face in a sea of uncertainty, helping to restore a sliver of normalcy in lives upended by circumstance. Envision a young adult in Inyo County supporting over 200 in need, who find solace at a nonprofit drop-in center after days of wandering. That receiving not just food, but guidance toward job training, easing the burden of isolation that comes from having nowhere to turn. These entities manage colossal efforts, channeling over $27 billion in state funds as of 2025, per CalYCH reports, to reach more than 308,000 people yearly, a scale that stuns when considering it's equivalent to aiding the population of a mid-sized city every 12 months. In Tuolumne County, home to around 500, nonprofits like All Home advocate for housing first models, prioritizing permanent homes over temporary fixes. Yet they operate on shoestring budgets, reliant on donations, highlighting the dedication required to sustain such impact. The daily toll on those they serve is evident, the weariness from navigating bureaucracy, the quiet strength needed to rebuild, the subtle hope sparked by a helping hand, all underscoring the human cost of gaps in broader systems. As U.S. Homeless Stories brings these efforts to light, it stirs a sense of communal duty, encouraging us to value the unsung heroes fostering change. How might volunteering in places like Mariposa County, with about 150 affected, make a tangible difference? This narrative reminds us that vulnerability isn't selective. Economic shifts or personal hurdles could lead anyone down this path, inspiring proactive kindness. If this touches your heart, a simple like goes a long way. And subscribing to U.S. Homeless Stories ensures you join us in exploring more stories of perseverance. Continue watching to connect with the real America. Leading onward, we uncover the fresh strategies reshaping responses to these persistent needs. What fresh approaches in Mono County, aiding roughly 100, could inspire broader change? Seven, initiatives, innovations, and new models. In California's ongoing push to address housing instability, the 2025 to 2027 Action Plan for Preventing and Ending Homelessness serves as a vital blueprint, outlining 5 key goals to cut unsheltered numbers, boost permanent housing, enhance prevention, refine data tracking, and ensure accountability. Efforts that directly touch the lives of those enduring the quiet fatigue of daily uncertainty. the subtle weariness from lacking a steady place to regroup, and the faint spark of optimism that comes with tangible support. These strategies speak to the human experience, aiming to lighten the load where instability drains energy and hope, making routines like finding rest or planning ahead feel out of reach. Innovations like Project HomeKey have converted unused buildings into over 15,000 housing units since 2020, per Governor Newsom's 2026 reports, a transformative scale that helps counter the isolation of those without options. While the homeless data integration system in places like Santa Cruz County, benefiting over 2,400, enables smarter, real-time coordination to reduce service frustrations. Yet, with the 2026-27 budget proposing $500 million for the Homeless Housing Assistance and Prevention Program, down from prior levels as analyzed by CalMatters in January 2026, sustaining these gains requires vigilance. They're reflecting the resilience of both communities and individuals navigating these changes. The impact shows in California's 9% unsheltered drop in 2025, the biggest in 15 years according to Governor's Office data, outpacing the nation's 18% rise and highlighting how focused actions can restore a sense of security. Additional funding, such as the $419 million HHAP allocation in January 2026 for cities like San Francisco, Los Angeles, and San Diego, bolsters housing first models that provide homes first, then support, easing the persistent strain of displacement for many. As U.S. Homeless Stories highlights these steps, it fosters a deeper human connection, encouraging us to see our role in nurturing inclusive progress. How could expanding such programs in rural spots like Modoc County, supporting about 100 residents, create ripples of stability? It's a soft reminder that life's sudden shifts, a setback or unexpected change, might bring these challenges closer, inviting us to respond with shared kindness. If these stories of advancement move you, a like helps share the light, and subscribing to U.S. Homeless Stories connects you to more tales of human endurance. Keep engaging to uncover the heart of these efforts. Eight. Conclusion. A message of hope. As we gently close this chapter on the profound realities of homelessness in California, let's turn our hearts toward the individuals at the center of these stories. Those who carry on with an inner strength that inspires us all, facing each dawn with a quiet determination that speaks volumes about the human capacity for endurance. It's in these moments of reflection that we truly see the depth of their experiences, the simple longing for a place to rest without fear, the unspoken desire for connection in a world that can feel so isolating, the subtle grace with which they hold on to dreams amid the daily challenges of finding warmth, nourishment, and a sense of purpose. These are not just distant tales. They are reminders of our shared vulnerability, urging us to extend a hand of understanding and to cherish the bonds that make us a community. In the spirit of compassion, may we offer silent wishes for those navigating these paths, hoping they find solace in unexpected kindnesses, strength in the small victories that light their way, and the embrace of supportive arms that guide them towards stability and peace. Let us envision brighter tomorrows, where doors open to welcoming spaces, where the weight of uncertainty lifts, allowing room for healing and renewal. May their journeys be met with empathy from strangers turned allies, and may the quiet whispers of hope grow into resounding echoes of belonging, reminding them that they are seen, valued, and deserving of every opportunity to thrive. This message of hope isn't abstract. It's rooted in the everyday acts that weave us together, like sharing a meal, listening without judgment, or advocating for change that uplifts the overlooked. Through U.S. Homeless Stories, we honor these narratives not just to inform, but to stir the soul, fostering a deeper appreciation for the resilience that blooms even in hardship. It's a call to nurture our collective humanity, to recognize that extending grace to others enriches our own lives in ways words can scarcely capture. What small gesture of kindness might you offer to someone in need, perhaps right in your own neighborhood? It's a gentle nudge that life's unpredictable turns, a moment of hardship or a sudden shift, could place any of us in similar shoes, inspiring us to respond with open-hearted solidarity. If these reflections have touched a chord within you, a like would help spread this compassionate light. And subscribing to U.S. Homeless Stories keeps you woven into more stories that celebrate the human spirit. Thank you for staying with us to the very end. Your time and attention mean the world as we share these important narratives together.